Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the Holy Smokes Barbecue channel and welcome to an experiment day. Now you've seen me do pork butts before. I'll have a couple linked to those videos at the end of this video, but specifically today we're gonna do a very different method than I've ever done before, either on or off the channel. I've literally never done this before. So today, instead of doing this pork butt low and slow, we're gonna do it hot and fast. Now, fast is kind of a subjective term because it's still gonna take several hours to cook this pork butt on the smoker, but we're gonna do it at a higher temperature for less time. And we're gonna see how it turns out. And when I say hot, I'm not just talking about the temperature inside the smoker, I'm also talking about a little bit of the way that we're gonna season this up today. So we're gonna season it hot, we're gonna cook it hot, it's all gonna be hot, hot, hot. So I'm ready to go. If you are, let's get started. All right, here is today's pork butt, pork shoulder, pork butt, same thing, interchangeable. This guy's gonna weigh about 8 pounds, and this came from Strip District Meats, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You hear me talk about them all the time on the channel, the absolute best in the biz. Now, as far as trimming this goes, all I'm really gonna do is remove any sort of loose pieces, kind of like that I can find in here. But I'm not gonna go out of my way to overly trim this pork butt because this interwoven marbling here is really going to be where that moisture comes from. Plus I'm going to do some spritzing on this today because we are cooking at a higher temperature. All right, so I'm going to come in here with my super sharp knife. This is the Pit Boss Pro Series knife. And any little flaps like that, just going to take those off. So there is kind of this other little flap of meat. I am going to take that off. Again, just so we're nice and smooth, so we get a nice even cook on that. All right, let's take a look at the other side here. Beautiful, smooth fat cap. Right here, just from packaging, there's kind of a solidified, almost hard line of fat. I am going to trim that down because I don't know that that's going to render very well. All right, much better. So now let's talk about seasoning. I'm going to season the fat cap first. And then I'm going to flip it over and do the other side. But before we season, I'm going to apply a binder. Now this is where the heat starts to come in. Because today as my binder, I'm going to use spicy brown mustard. And you're not going to be able to taste a ton of it. Just like with any binder, it's more for actually binding the seasonings on. But you will be able to get a little hint of spice out of this. So I'm going to put that on there. And then just liberally rub it on there everywhere, covering the entire pork butt. 2 rubs that I'm going to use today. The first is the Carolina barbecue rub from Pit Boss. This stuff is great. I am originally from North Carolina, and so this is going to have a lot of flavors that I'm familiar with, but really that mustard-based barbecue. Apply that on there. It does kind of get lost in the color of the spicy brown mustard. And you can see obviously the yellow in this rub comes from mustard powder. I'm gonna go fairly heavy with this. And after I've applied that, I'm gonna do a light coating of garlic jalapeno seasoning from Weber. I love the taste of jalapeno seasoning, and this is a really, really good one. To just add a little bit more heat. Now I know you might be thinking, man, that's a lot of spicy things at once. But there's some things that we're gonna do throughout the cook today that are going to tone that down a little bit so that it's not overwhelmingly spicy. And we'll talk about those things as we get there. So now I'm gonna do the other sides of this pork butt. Spicy brown, Carolina rub, and my garlic jalapeno. Man, this is a great smell first thing in the morning, I tell you. All right, now I'm gonna let this sit here for just a little bit and let those seasonings absorb into the meat, probably about, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. And then I'll come back and we'll talk about what hot and fast means on the smoker for us today. All right, this pork butt is looking and smelling fantastic after only 10 minutes just sitting here. So now it's time to get it onto the smoker. So I have my Pit Boss Platinum Series Lockhart. I'm using the Pit Boss Classic Blend pellets, which are good for just about anything that you want to cook on the smoker. And I have the temperature set to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, I know that you're thinking, no, 225, 250 max for a pork butt. But again, this is hot and fast, so we're going 300 degrees. I'm gonna start by putting this pork butt onto the smoker, and I'm gonna put it directly on the grates, and I'm gonna put it fat cap down. I'm going to use the internal meat thermometers that came with the Lockhart to monitor the temperature until it gets to about 160 degrees. Once it gets to 160 internal, I'm going to pull it off and put it in a pan with some other stuff that I'll show you. We're going to cover it and put it back on the smoker until the internal hits about 203, which is our finished temperature. And one more last word of note, I'm going to come out periodically and check to see if it's starting to dry out, which it most likely will since it's at such a higher temperature. And if that is the case, I'm going to spritz it just using some orange juice. All right, that's what we're doing. Let's get it on the smoker. Fat cap is down. I'm going to put it on this side. I'm doing that just because I've never done this before. I don't want to risk burning it, and this is the cooler side of the grill, even though like the whole thing's at 300, but I'm just going to try it, you know, why not? All right, and I'm going to go into the thickest part of the meat here with these 2 meat probes. So this is going to go for several hours, and then we'll come out, I'll show it to you along the way, we'll spritz, that sort of stuff. See you in a bit. All right, it is time for this pork butt to get a wrap. Now, it's been in there for about 4 hours. I've gone out about every, I don't know, hour or so and spritzed it with just a mixture of orange juice and water, just kind of diluted orange juice. So as we prepare for the wrap process, we're gonna add to this foil pan a little bit of orange juice, and for some nice sweetness, a little teriyaki sauce. Just whisk that together a little bit. I know it's not pretty. It is about to thunderstorm like crazy, so I gotta get this pork butt into this pan. All right, let's get a look at it. Woo, that color. All right, pan on. Pork butt in. Go ahead and wrap here. I am leaving those temp probes in because I want to keep monitoring my temperature. All right, and now we come back when the internal hits 203. All right, this took pretty much exactly 6 hours, but the internal temperature is where I want it. I can hear it bubbling. I've not looked at this yet. So let's take a look and see what we got. Woo, look at that. Man, talk about moisture. Holy cow. Now I can see here where some of that mixture kind of hardened up and solidified there. So I'm not actually gonna pull this in this pan. I'm gonna put it in a different one because a lot of that stuff just burned up down there. All right, so upon further review, it seems that it's kind of burned to the bottom of this pan. Oh well, that's okay. I'm still gonna transfer it to a different pan, but first I want you to see this. Let's grab this shoulder bone here and just look at that. Look how pretty that is. Woo, that meat's falling right off. And now I'm gonna use my Pit Boss meat claws here to just kind of dig in. Oh, look at the juice. You see the juice? You see that? Just as I touch it, you can see the juice. Look at that. Normally you want to let this rest for a little while, but for the sake of this video and for the sake of the fact that I'm hungry, I'm just gonna go right for it. Oh, this is gonna be great. That bark, look at that bark. Oh, it looks nice. Go right in, like so, and then we pull apart. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh man. That, just look at that. Look at that color. It kind of just kind of falls apart. Oh man. I'm gonna put this in this other pan. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna sort of grab, oh my gosh, it's falling apart. I'm gonna grab this kind of part by part, stick it over here in this other pan. All right, and there it is in a fresh pan. Look how gorgeous that is. Look at the beautiful smoke ring. You can see that all throughout here. That meat is deliciously juicy and tender. I love the color on the bark, and I cannot wait to give this a try. Man, the smell of this pork butt is insane. I wish you could smell it. It's got so many different kind of, I don't know, just aromas coming off of it that all work perfectly together for a smell that is making it very, very hard to resist. So now it's time to test our experiment and see how we did on this hot and fast smoked pork butt. I'm gonna grab a piece here that I know has some bark on it. Yeah, right there. Here we go. Oh my gosh, is that tender. Oh, you barely even have to chew it. Oh, so juicy. Listen, we made that bark with spicy mustard and a spicy rub, and the heat is perfect. It's not too much. In fact, you might not even know that it was there until after you've taken a couple bites, and then it starts to sort of creep up just a teeny tiny bit, but it's perfect. Oh, the bark. Holy smokes. Man, that's so good. Well, hey, listen, this only took 6 hours at 300 degrees. Typically, a pork butt that's that size, you're gonna be looking at 10 to 12, maybe even 14 hours on it at a 225. But 300 degrees, I mean, it's not the worst thing. So listen, if you're strapped for time and you don't have 12 to 14 hours and you wanna just make something that'll be ready by dinner, do it this way. Well, I can envision some delicious pulled pork sandwiches in my very, very near future. So I'm gonna go do that. But thank you once again for tuning in to the Holy Smokes Barbecue channel. If you like this video, make sure that you click that thumbs up to give us a like. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, and turn on the post notifications. Just click that little bell and you'll be one of the first people to know as soon as we post new delicious content. And while I'm enjoying these delicious pulled pork sandwiches, I want you to check out these 2 other pork butt videos, some different styles, some different methods, but equally delicious. And I'll see you next time.